Welcome to the Global Truth Center. I am Reverend Dr. Tiffani Eileen Kartalian Milne. Very long name. I don't know why I threw my middle name in there, but it seemed appropriate for the moment. Dr. James is in Guatemala. So we have so much to celebrate today. First, I want to honor the graduates. I'm still climbing out of the denial that my son just celebrated his culmination from 8th grade, and I have a high schooler now. Happy Pride. Happy Father's Day. Yeah. Would the fathers in the room raise your hand so that we can... Thank you for spending your Father's Day here with all of us. Father's Day is a little bit bittersweet for me since my father passed, but I also have this amazing husband and this amazing father, and so there's this little bit of juxtaposition of happiness and joy and sadness built into the day. And as I was driving here, I'm like, love lives here, and amazing fathers that love me and nurture me. And in this sanctuary, I feel that wholeness of being completely loved and sort of held. It's probably just because I'm very immature that I feel like everyone is my parent and my mother and father in some capacity. And so I thank you for bringing your love here, not just for me, but for everyone today. So with that, let's stand up and sing about this big family, shall we?
Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Woo! Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
John DePatti on the guitar.
A joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Thank you. All right. asked about the fathers. The fathers raised their hands. Is there anybody here for the first time? I know you two are here for the first time. I promise I won't make it painful. What's your name? Don Stein. Don is new, first time in the sanctuary, but it's been in classes and watches online. So you're an old pro. You know what we're about to do, even though you can't do it to you. I know, it's true. We brought in a ringer for this. Anybody else here for the first time? Nobody willing to admit it. Oh, yay! Stand up. What's your name?
Sharon Peterson.
Sharon Peterson. Oftentimes we ask what you do when people stand up, meaning like, what do you do for a living? But I'd like to ask, what brings you joy? What fills your life force? Her family. I love that. And Dawn, of course you're going to say, the lovely woman sitting next to you. Right answer. Love it. So we're going to say something together, and then I just want you to listen and see what you hear. Dawn's going to cheat, but that's okay. We come together every Sunday as a spiritual community to do one thing and one thing only. What is it? I always love getting to hear that from up here. It sounds like chaos when I'm sitting in my seat, but up here I could hear it loud and clear. I don't know, did it sound like chaos from where you're sitting? Yeah, she's like, I have no idea. Dawn? Right where I am, God is. That's right. And for me, and I think the reason why it sounds like chaos is because we're all kind of saying it in our own unique way. For me, when I'm creating chaos sitting in my seat out there, I say that I come here every Sunday to stay tethered to the truth of who I am. It's very easy for me to know who I am when I'm sitting in the sanctuary. There's so much love here, and this is where my chosen family is. And sometimes it gets a little mucky out there, and sometimes I can forget. And so the more that I just continue to show up every single Sunday and in classes and stay in community and stay tethered to the people and the Global Truth Center, the more that I'm able to go out and rise above the muck and remember who I am. So if this is your first time, we have a card for you. If you fill it out, we have a gift for you. Sherry is going around passing that out. And then if you fill out the card, Dr. James, who's in Guatemala right now, when he gets back, or maybe from Guatemala, who knows? The man works a lot. He will send you an email and correspond with you. The other thing that we do on a Sunday is celebrate our vision statement, which is, this one's on the wall, so you don't have to worry about it. Dawn, you can cheat right behind me. Our vision statement is to love only, forgive everything, and remember who you are. And that's really, in the month and the theme of vitality, when I think about vitality, I think of everything. Vitality is my life force, right? It is love only. It is forgiveness. It is knowing who I am. And then I just sometimes pack a lot of muck on top of it. I pack resentment on top of it, or things in the relative that I think that should be different, or I love you when you are well behaved, not so much when you're not doing what I don't want you to do. And so for me, this vision statement clears away the muck and gets to the true essence, that creative energy of love that allows me to live my most authentic, vibrant self. Sound good? Yeah. And then we have our mission statement, which is, do it now. I feel like we've all waited a really long time to really live this vision statement. And so let's do it now. And we can do it right now with the voice of the amazing Mindy Schinnerer for our meditation music.
It's like the air around me. It's like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me, and I am touched by amazing grace. And all I've ever wanted, all I ever needed was already there. Closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air. I breathe in, and I am filled with the Spirit. It is health to my body, it is peace to my mind, it is joy, joy to my soul. I breathe out a simple prayer of thank you. And my breath becomes a song that was singing all along, that was singing everywhere, nearer than the air.
I breathe in love. I breathe out love in gratitude for the fatherly love, for the love that is the creative energy of all, the intelligent force of the universe. And I just stand in this beautiful, magnificent energy that is always nearer than the air. It is right here. It is right where I am. Right where I am, love is. Right where I am, I breathe it, I know it, I live it. And I allow it to go forth through me, as me, sending ripples out into the world in glorious love, in glorious gratitude.
I breathe in, and I am filled with the Spirit. It is health to my body, it is peace to my mind, it is joy, it is joy, joy to my soul. I breathe out my simple prayer, thank you. And my breath becomes a song that was singing all along, that was singing everywhere, nearer than the air. It's like the air around you. It's like the sunlight on your face. Feel the love of God surround you. and all you ever wanted, all you ever needed was already there, closer than the sunlight and nearer than the air.
Is. I was just realizing when we had the ministerial panels here, the retreat last week or the week before, the newly minted Reverend Sharon Guthrie let me know all the things that I do when I'm standing on stage. Apparently, I like kick my feet when I'm talking, and I put my hair behind my ears, and so I feel this very I'm like, don't do any of the things Sharon said. So I'm just going to stand like this the entire time. So I'm really excited. Our lead inspirer, or our first lead inspirer today, is an amazing man. And when you have a conversation with this person, there are three things that really shine that you get from him right away. The first is that he is the most genuinely honest, loving, heartfelt, giving, sincere man that I've had the privilege to know. He's an amazing human being. And the second thing is that he is brilliant. His mind, his willingness to dive deep, to study, to figure things out, to work hard shines so brightly. And the last thing is just how very much he loves his daughter, Sarah. So I'd like to welcome Thor Challgren. And of course you love Erin, your wife, as well, but it's not wife's day, so
that is true.
That shows up all the time as well.
And I would just like to say, for someone to tell you that you need to put your hair behind the ears, I would love for someone to tell me that.
That's right. Nanny.
Show off.
You can kick your legs while you talk. We'll see what you do.
I can do that. I don't know that I'm going to, though.
Now you're like, I'm just going to stand like
exactly.
this. I shouldn't have worn a dress. That was probably a bad choice. So before we get to hear your amazing talk, which I can't wait to hear, what's our theme?
Our theme is vitality.
Vitality. I love that. How does that show up for you? What does that mean? Without giving away your talk, I don't want to...
No, it's actually a great question, because yesterday in the blog, I wrote about the idea of vitality. And one of the things that occurred to me was we think of it as a health. Often we'll think like, I want vital health. But it can be in so many other areas in your life. And what came to me was the metaphor of a fountain. Ooh. And I wrote about how we went to see the Trevi Fountain. And fountains are everywhere in the world. I was just there. Were you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know.
Yeah.
Fountains are this apparently self-contained body of water, and the water just flows through it, and we don't see where it comes from, but we just know that it's always there. And so I loved that idea of thinking of our vitality as this fountain that's within us, that is always flowing, it's always there, and we just have to allow it to flow.
I love that. That is an amazing analogy. See? Brilliant. What did I say?
And one of the things I talked about, and this is one of those you let go of, I mentioned that one of the most famous fountains in sort of culture is the Fountain of Youth. Mm. And it occurred to me after I submitted and posted the talk, that was in there, and I had another title. I'm like, the talk title or the blog title should have been The Fountain of You.
Mm. Oh, I like that.
Maybe
I like
book.
that. For me, when I think of vitality and when I think of the fountain of youth, what always comes to mind is, you know when you laugh so hard your ribs hurt and you can't breathe? Like you're like, oh my God, I'm on the brink of death from this amazingly joyous, funny laughter. That's when I'm like, oh yes. And it's like that feeling that I crave. Not so much the like rib pain and all that goes with it, but like the vitality. That's when I'm feeling my most vibrant and alive. Love it. Your metaphor was probably much better. So,
no, I love
yours didn't cause pain.
But I love that idea that moment when you are laughing and you just feel so alive. You're right. I mean, I think that's why people say laughter is the best medicine.
The fountain of youth.
There you go.
Love it. All right. So we're going to do our affirmation, and then I'm going to duck out so you can hear more of the brilliance from Thor. Ready?
So this is our affirmation. It's... This is fascinating because normally I'm up in the booth. This is a big let go moment for me because I don't even know if we're still on the air. I hope so. But we're going to say this and trust that everybody online is also seeing this and will say it with us. So
I love it.
I'd love for everyone to stand up because what's more vital than standing up and speaking from the fountain of yourself?
The fountain.
All right,
yes.
So we're going to say this 2 times. Each time with vitality. So you ready? I am the vital energy of the universe. I love it. Is that Cynthia? Yes. Oh, I love it. Let's all do that this time because that is the universe is all around us. So ready? I am the vital energy of the universe. I love it.
Take it away, Thor.
Thank you. It's Father's Day, and a lot of people may have plans today to do something with their father. It occurs to me that typically this is a day where the dads get to do what they want. So they might say, I want to do something like go to the baseball game. You could do that today because the Dodgers are playing this afternoon. I discovered before I came up this morning, the Dodgers also played last night and did something that completely undercut the topic that I want to share today because they lost 15-0. So if you're going today, just the odds are you're going to get a better experience than the people that went last night. But baseball, I feel like there's not that many opportunities where we get to talk about baseball here, but I think this is a very good metaphor for how we can view who we are as fathers, and not just fathers, but also the energy of anyone who feels that they have to be in control. As dads, a lot of time, that's something that we deal with, that I want to be in control. And in baseball, there's one position player who always wants to be in control, and that is the starting pitcher. I in some ways identify with that now because I'm kind of the starting pitcher here of the 3 amazing speakers that are going to be speaking. But the starting pitcher has one role. If you don't know baseball, in 20 seconds, give you the nutshell. Their job is to throw as many successful innings as possible. Ideally, if they can throw 6 or 7 innings, that's a great starting pitcher output for that day. And then what will happen is the other pitchers from the bullpen will come in, and they'll help get the game to the ending. So starting pitcher, in some ways, has like the most important job. And their job is that sort of I can do it energy. And that's the part that I think as dads, we can identify with. Dads have a very much I can do it energy, meaning it's up to me. If you've ever tried to give dad directions on where to drive, you get this. If you've ever brought home furniture from IKEA and dad said, I can do it. If you've ever tried to figure out how to set up your smart TV, who's going to come along and tell you I can do it? The dad is, of course. And it's not just, they don't just say it that way. They say it with lots of exclamation marks. I can do it. When it comes to being a father, and we talked about Dr. Tiffani mentioned my daughter, Sarah. I very much had that energy, and I was speaking with Erin last night, my wife, and we kind of both had that energy when Sarah was born, which was, as new parents, we wanted the opportunity to kind of just spend some time together as a family. Because you probably all know, lots of relatives will say, do you need help? Do you want us to come over maybe those first couple of weeks? And we said, no, we've got it. We can handle it. It was very much I can do it energy. So we bring Sarah home. Oh, all right. And this is where I want to share this quote from Ernest Holmes, because I think this summarizes this idea. He says, man creates nothing at all. He merely uses creative forces. Spiritual mind practice calls not only for definite attention and active awareness, but equally for a sort of relaxation because of implicit confidence in the law. And this is the part where I think not just dads, but I think a lot of people have that, I've got to do it, and they don't have the implicit confidence in the law. And that was certainly our situation when we brought Sarah home. This is 2000, probably around the first month or so. In fact, I don't know, there wasn't a date on this picture, but it could very well be the day we brought her home, which was a challenging day. Because, as you know, when you have kids, you probably don't sleep much. You get home from the hospital, you're exhausted, and Erin wanted to take a nap. And so she put Sarah in the bassinet right next to the bed and said to me, I had one job, just watch Sarah and make sure she's okay. I figure I can do that, right? And that's a pretty easy job. I'm just looking at, in theory, a sleeping daughter. Well, I'm looking at her, and pretty quickly, she starts turning purple, as in not breathing. Fortunately, she's okay, obviously, but Erin immediately grabbed her, did the Heimlich, I call 911. We have the paramedics come, take her to Los Robles Hospital. So literally, within an hour of us being home, we're already in the ER with our newborn daughter. And that wasn't the only challenge that we had, because she was also had a little bit of jaundice when she was born, which is very common. So they have to put the kids in these, like a little tanning booth, essentially, to sort of get rid of the bilirubin. So that first day and a half that we're home, neither of us has slept much. I'm having to watch her. Erin's having to watch her all the time to make sure she stays in this thing. And by the time Saturday night came around, I couldn't function. I literally could not function. In fact, I was on the floor, kind of curled up in the fetal position, crying, because I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. And I hear, Erin's laughing. Thank you so much. I hear downstairs Erin on the phone calling her mom. Mom, can you come out? Her mom couldn't. She was in Michigan. It couldn't just arrive right away. So she calls my mom, who's in Colorado, and she says, Sally, can you come out? This is what I'm hearing while I'm like on the floor in the fetal position. And what I hear next is, he's on the floor crying. So my mom, who I'm eternally grateful to, came out the next day on Mother's Day, no less, and was with us. And then a short time later, Erin's mom came out, and then we had all the help that we could use. And this reminds me of baseball, because essentially our mom, my mom, was the bullpen. She was the person that came in when we thought, as a starting pitcher, I can do this. And so this feels to me, and the title of my talk is The Quantum Bullpen, because my mom was out there in the same way that the bullpen is behind the pitcher. And it's not just behind the pitcher, it's everywhere. It's all around you. And all you have to do is allow that to be who you are, because it is who you are. So I'll close with this thought, which is that when you allow that quantum energy, God, that amazing consciousness to be who you are and to flow through you, you will always win. Because in baseball, when the starting pitcher goes out of the game with a lead and then the bullpen comes in, guess what? That pitcher still gets the win and the bullpen gets the save. So look for places in your life where maybe you need to let go of the baseball and give it to the universe, to the quantum field, and allow that support to flow through you. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Thor. Amazing. Soon to be Reverend Thor, but really already Reverend Thor. We just have some licensing and a few more classes to take. I feel like I still have moments where I'm crying in the fetal position through parenting. I remember when I had my son slept through the night at 5 weeks. He was like, never threw a temper tantrum, like the easiest baby on the planet. And I thought, I am so good at this. I am the most amazing parent ever. I should do the world a favor and have a litter, because I would really just be populating these brilliant children that I have created and raised with such dynamicism. And then I had my daughter, and she didn't sleep through the night till she was 2.5. She's 9 and still doesn't always sleep through the night. Temper tantrums were like, I guess it's Tuesday, like literally on, and I was like, oh, I owe a lot of people an apology for my arrogance when I had my son. And then I was like, I had nothing to do with either of them. They were born the way they were born. So, oh, wait, that's later. We have an amazing song coming up just about that thing. But first, we have another amazing now ministerial student, now reverend. And I think the thing that I love the most about this man is that he's brilliant. His understanding of the quantum is, I'm assuming he's right because I'm too dumb to understand it at his level. Like, he's brilliant, and yet so heart-led and so loving, and just somebody that you want to hang out with and have a conversation with, because he's this combination of head and heart. And his son is here today as well, which warms my heart to get to meet the people that he created. So give it up for the Reverend Kevin Roesch.
Now I am. Thank you. So I'll get right to it because it's Father's Day, and you know what? We don't mess around. You know, when we say goodbye, we mean goodbye, right? Like it's time to go, not let's go. So I realized that when my oldest dog, Lola, was refusing to eat the $25 a pound dry-aged ribeye, that perhaps I'd made a mistake in the way that I trained my loved ones in my life. You know, I thought the strategy was correct. You have a high expectation and high reward. And it was a strategy that I had learned from my parents, and but maybe it wasn't really turning out exactly the way that I thought it ought to. You know, because the thing about high expectations, in this case, was a generational transmission, right? I learned it from my parents. That's what you did. That's the way that you raised your kids. And when you're talking about my upbringing, which was highly educated parents on the East Coast, you expected a lot. And expecting a lot meant that what they believed to be right and their value system was one that you would adopt. So that certainly coming from a big family of 6 kids, they expected go to the best colleges, have a professional career, be successful, be proof that their method and their value system was the best one. You know, and they were proud of us. They expected a lot. And the truth is, we adopted that. We performed on that level. We met those expectations. But what happened in doing the right things and going the right places and adopting the family tradition, we missed a few things about self-examination, about understanding family systems. Because what you did was you sucked it up. You did it. You performed. You became that person that your parents wanted you to. And it wasn't suffering, right? It was just, this is the way you did it. This is the way that you returned the love. And so, it wasn't shallow either. You know, my parents loved and supported us, and I felt it, and we felt it. And so when it came time to have my family, my wife and Adrian and I decided that the bookend to high expectations was be really loving by inviting communication, by letting our boys know how much we loved them, how excited we were to have them express themselves, to have them put what they needed up front, and to be that flowing, communicative other side of the high expectations. But what we missed along the way, I think, a little bit was that although they communicated, they also adopted, they took on the same sort of predictable pattern. They certainly expressed what they needed and were communicative, but I think my wife and I missed a few things. We missed perhaps underneath what was being said, what was needed, some of the feelings that were there that we kind of passed over a little bit. So in those moments, right, when my kids did what I did, which is they did take on the acceptance, the performance, the being rewarded for doing the right things, right, which was being social and getting good grades and cleaning your room. And all of a sudden, it's like, holy Father of God, I have become my parents, right? How many people have had that moment, right? And so the title here is, Oops, I Did It Again. And there was, in that desire for my kids to do the right things and become the people I thought they should be, I made the mistake of thinking that what was cool and what was right for them was to share what I believed about life, how it worked, and my ideas. And while that was fantastic, and we were a tight family little unit, in my supporting them to be such amazing kids, I missed a few things. So my oldest, Jared, runs a machine learning tech company in Seattle, PhD, brilliant mind, gourmet cook, a driver, really unbelievable, brilliant, super. And my youngest, Ian, who's here today, is one of the funniest, keenest intellects, so smart, so self-aware, so emotionally in touch with himself, and he's a fantastic musician, and kind of an old soul. Actually, both my kids are. And so they're fine, right? They're amazing. But in my support, and my wife and I's support to make sure they knew they were amazing, we filled in some of the gaps. Like, I didn't always hear underneath in those formative years of being in school when they were different, when they were smart, and I was aware of how amazing they were, I didn't always hear underneath what was happening. I sometimes substituted what I felt, my idea of how things are, my take on the world, communicating that to them was enough to make up for some of the sensitivities and vulnerabilities that kids have in those years at school. And moving through those feelings of being different and being special, I don't know if I say I, and it's my wife and I don't know if I understood that that wasn't always enough for them, that I was in a position where I felt like in growing myself and in loving them that was enough. So I missed a few things. And so essentially my kids did the same thing I did, which was to take what my parents gave me and to assume their values and to push into their development and in their years of growing up, the idea that you didn't communicate certain vulnerabilities and you didn't communicate certain needs, and that was enough. And I realized going through this that in order to change, if you're an awake person or you're becoming awake, that there's a need and a requirement to tap into a language and a freedom to express yourself and a way of being able to use language and words to name the absurdities and the hypocrisies of everyday life, that, just conforming and getting in line and doing like it was done before wasn't enough for them. And they communicated that as adults, that sometimes when you are uncertain, it's not enough for someone to be certain for you. And I thought as a parent, that's what my job was to do. If you don't know, I'll know for you. And what my kids are teaching me and taught me is that hearing them, listening to them, allowing them to be their own unique voice is really what loving as a parent was about. And I know that I'm so grateful that my sons still want to be close to me, and that as a family, we still have lessons to teach each other. And that as we move forward, the bond and the expansion and the growth is really as wide open as it ever was. And so on this Father's Day, I just want to say that I did miss a few things. And I know that as grateful as I am, that my understanding now about understanding means that I have to have a willingness to change and to do it different. And that doing it different means if I didn't get it right the first time, and it didn't get it pure, and maybe I'd like another shot at it, well, then the good news is do it now. So thank everybody here who was a parent, fathers and mothers, and love you all on this day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Oh, I felt that. And I love that idea of what I really got out of Kevin's talk is, and Thor's talk too, that we think as parents that we're supposed to impart all this knowledge on our children, that we're supposed to be the be-all, end-all, and to know everything. We're like the Google of their lives. And it really put in perspective this teacher-student, that I learn from them and I evolve from my children as they're learning from me and evolving from me in this symbiotic relationship. You didn't miss anything. You were growing together and learning together and evolving together into amazing young men, and a pretty magnificent, not as young man. I am really excited. I feel like you cannot celebrate the month of Pride without this song. It is sort of the anthem, and the writer and performer of the song is sort of she's just the spokesperson for the entire whole shebang. So I am very, very excited to bring up Maddie singing Born This Way by Lady Gaga.
Told me when I was young, we were all born superstars. She'd curl my hair, put my lipstick on, in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be. Give yourself prudence and love your friends. Subway kid, rejoice your truth. In the religion of the insecure, I must be myself, respect my youth. A different lover is not a sin, believe capital H-I-M. Hey, I love myself, I love this record, and mi amo vuole fire. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't mind yourself and regret, just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Born this way, ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Whether you're broke or evergreen, you're black, white, beige, chola descent, you're Lebanese, you're Orient. Whether life's disabilities left you outcast, bullied, or teased, rejoice and love yourself today, 'cause baby, you were born this way. No matter gay, straight, or bi, lesbian, transgender life, I'm on the right track, baby, I was born to survive. No matter black, white, or beige, chola, or Orient maid, I'm on the right track, baby, I was born to be brave. Don't have to say but obey. I was born this way. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way,
give it up for Maddie again. That is a very big song, and you nailed it. Amazing. Thank you. Oh, wow. I can feel the vitality in me. So our final inspirer for the day, it's this man for me. He's the total package. He's funny and he's smart and loving and heart-led, and he loves his kids and he loves his wife, and it all comes through. I learned from Margaret that he sings while he prepares his dog's food. But what I love the most about him is, listen, you shouldn't let me hang out with Margaret. You can correct anything I said when you get up here. You'll have the final word. And when I met him, I was like, he's this perfect combination of like smart and funny and heart-led and just enough neuroses to be amazingly funny. So he's come a long way. He's not nearly as neurotic as he was in those early days. It's just that right amount of smidge that makes for the perfect. He's also a brilliant writer. I could go on, but instead I'll let him tell you about how he sings to his dogs when he makes their food. Erik Bork.
Thank you, Dr. Tiffani. So I love that we're educating Dr. James about baseball today. So continuing with that theme, Dr. James, I would be what's known as the closer who sometimes does a blown save when the incredible starting pitcher, holds the lead and then the middle reliever comes in, the team is still winning. Sometimes the final guy comes in and it all like falls apart at that point. So that's what might happen here. But I mean, I always think that a good talk starts with, relating something like vulnerable where you don't necessarily look great. And Thor, I know you made that whole story up, but it really worked for this talk. That whole fetal position with the daughter thing, wow. And Kevin, what you said about parental expectations, I'm going to end up cannibalizing some of that because I'm also talking about that. But it's cool when Dr. James asked us all to speak, I could show you the email. I think we all have the email where he said, 10 minutes each, guys, okay, 10 minutes. All right, I'm like, that seems a little long, but okay. So all week long, I'm working, I'm coming up with what I'm going to say. I'm like, how do I fill 10 minutes? But I eventually figure it all out, and I'm feeling pretty secure, right? And then yesterday, I get the follow-up email from Dr. Tiffani the day before saying, just a reminder, you three, keep it to 5 minutes tomorrow. Wait a minute, 5 minutes? So I'm going to talk at double speed, and you're all going to keep up with it. So first, I want to make sure I tell you about this book that's been kind of influential on me. That you don't hear about this book very much on this stage, but some people really like it. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon. It's called The Bible. I think it's Bible, I want to say, and I'm not really sure who wrote it, but I think it's like one of those anthologies maybe where different people wrote different parts. But it tells this really cool story of this father guy who created everything. He created the universe, he created the planets and the people and the animals and the ocean, all that. And he's kind of like this chill dude who'll do stuff for you sometimes if you just ask him and do what he says, say your enemies are chasing you and there's a body of water, he'll part the water, you run across and then he drowns them afterwards, right? Archie loves it. Yeah, so or there's this story where he drops food from the sky for no apparent reason, and it tastes terrible, but it keeps you alive if you're find yourself wandering in the desert for some reason. So but he does have this other side to him, which is a little aggro and kind of do what I say and follow everything I tell you to do or I'm going to punish you in these really colorful and detailed ways. And gets a little intense at times. So anyway, I read this book a lot as a kid, or actually it was read to me at this place called a church by these men who were known as Catholic priests. I don't think they exist anymore because a lot of them did some really bad things, but I haven't followed the news on it lately. But And I think it really set the tone for me about not only like what created the earth and how are we supposed to be and what's our job here, but also what a father is. Because I think fathers we kind of think of as having these two sides, which I think Kevin alluded to a little bit of like, you know, the loving provider who's going to give to you and guide you and direct you and help you. And then the guy that's going to like set the tough rules and the tough expectations and tell you be a certain way, my way or the highway, follow what I say you should do and be. And, you know, I was lucky in that my father was more the first one. He was a very like kind of kind, you know, good-hearted, easygoing kind of guy. And I'm extremely grateful that I grew up with a nuclear family that supported me and loved me. Not that nuclear is better, but like I just had the, you know, the two parents and the sibling and a stable home and was provided for and supported in how I wanted to be, whatever that was ultimately, which is great. But I will say my father came from a certain tradition of like of masculine values from like his era, of like growing up in the Depression and World War II, and he was like a working class guy who didn't go to college, who was like strived into the middle class. You know, the normal ideas of what a man was kind of what was imparted to me, not necessarily verbally, but kind of just subconsciously. And being good at sports was like one of those things. And so I grew up as a little boy, like really wanted to be good at sports. And this is going to shock you guys, I think. But as a child, I wasn't really that athletic. And I don't know why people are laughing. It's just like, it's just kind of a sad story, really. No, but I was kind of a brainy kid who was like very sensitive. And I didn't feel like I had those qualities that my dad imparted of like, you're tough and you don't have fear and you get things done and you're, you know, this man's man masculine ideal. And so, you know, the good news is I eventually, you know, found my own way and found my people and create a life and where I could succeed in, you know, in terms of my own desires of how I want to succeed. But the question is, to what extent do I carry around with me on some level that sense of I didn't quite measure up or I don't quite measure up? And on the religion side, too, with that Catholic father figure that I was raised with, do I really measure up to everything he said I was supposed to be? And some of what he said I wasn't all that appealing either, or I couldn't quite be. And so I think there's a part of me, and maybe you guys relate to this, that carries around some of that stuff, even though consciously you're like, no, I've moved on, and I'm this other thing, and I believe in these other things. And, you know, eventually I found this teaching, which kind of has the good parts of that God figure without the bad parts in some ways. The good parts being, you know, you can get what you want and you just have to believe, but it's all very kind of upbeat and positive. And you don't have the bad parts of the punishment. But the other thing, though, is you don't have this person, this being that you can just appeal to because it's all within yourself. It's all within your own mind. And the way you access that fatherly love has to do with what you're doing with your mind. And you have the responsibility to do that work. And if you don't do that work, you may be stuck in a place where you're not really feeling like that God energy is parting the Red Sea for you and raining down manna from heaven. So, what I've noticed is that it's daily work, it's spiritual practice to really try to get into that mindset, because the normal human mindset, as Abraham says, wants to pinch off that divine source with negative, unloving, limited, judging, unforgiving kind of thinking. And so my daily practice, my daily job seems to be to recognize that there's another level of consciousness that isn't the one I walk around in as a default state that is available to me, and to practice that state of consciousness. What I mean by default state is, I don't know about you, but in my daily life, it's very easy to just be caught up in the sense of I'm a limited, separate, vulnerable, finite human being who doesn't have access to everything he wants, and who, you know, has this body that's fragile and this limited lifespan and just limitation. And it takes work to say there's something else that I can come at life from besides that perspective. And to recognize that there is this loving Father presence that is available who really gets me, who really loves me, who really provides for me. But it isn't this separate being. It's this greater energy that I am made of and that I can access. So it's kind of like I have to force myself to switch gears into that mindset of, in a way, it's like being a father to myself and my own thinking. Like there's the child part of me that's the vulnerable, limited, separate self, and then there's the father side that I kind of go back and forth between in a way. And so, Dr. James recently taught this book, Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach, in a class that many of us took. I was the one that recommended the book to him, by the way. So, she has a great phrase in there called being the holder and the held. And she's coming from a Buddhist perspective. She's a psychotherapist and meditation teacher, but the idea being that you can be the child that needs to be held, and you can also be the father, the parent, the divine self that can hold that child. You can do that at the same time. And since we don't believe in that God out there that's going to do it, it's kind of our job to be the holder of ourselves at the same time as being the held. And one of the challenges in that, for me, is that I recognize that and there's so that's kind of like two personas. There's actually kind of a third persona living within me, which is this judging voice. This, the negative side of the God voice maybe, which I don't know if it's because the human brain has a negativity bias where we tend to look for problems and we tend to notice and focus on problems more than the good stuff. Have you all noticed that you do this or that we all do this? Because it's a thing. But there's a voice in me that kind of wants to say, you didn't do that well, you didn't measure up, play small, be worried about what's going to happen, make sure all your ducks are in a row, and be careful because there's problems out there. And that voice is also knocking at the door of my consciousness most of the time, trying to keep me in that sort of more limited mindset. So just like that child human voice, it doesn't have the final say. And I don't have to listen to it, but I also know that resisting it doesn't help. Resisting it, calling it wrong, wishing it wasn't there, being upset that it's talking, or that little child is talking who feels so vulnerable, resisting it doesn't help. Loving it, allowing it, accepting it is what seems to work for me while deciding to go to that higher place, deciding to seek and find that higher place. And so on this Father's Day, that's what I wish for all of you, as well as I do for myself, that you can find that loving Father voice within, live more and more from that voice, and see things from its point of view, to parent the child in whom it is always very well pleased. That's you, and that's me. Namaste.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for introducing that concept of the holder and the held. I mentioned earlier that Father's Day is a little bit bittersweet for me since my dad's passed. And I entered into this sanctuary very firmly understanding that my job today was to be the holder, that I was presiding and I needed to keep my stuff together and do the job at hand. And as I was sitting there and I was thinking about these three amazing fathers speaking, I was very much held. And thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now it's time for giving. We've received so much today. So I invite you to take out your tithe, your contribution, your conscious giving, whatever it is that you call it, but call it something, because money is just energy in action. It's really just an outward expression of our beliefs and what's important to us and things that we love and cherish and want to continue to grow and place our energy on. So in that vein, let's say this all together. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly.
Circulate my love right now, I circulate my love. Circulate my love right now, I circulate my love. I circulate my love right now, I circulate my love. Circulate my love right now, I circulate my love. And it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. I circulate my joy right now, I circulate my joy. Circulate my joy right now, I circulate my joy. I circulate my joy right now, I circulate my joy. Circulate my joy right now, I circulate my joy. And it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. Circulation is across the nation. It's a love vibration. Circulate my gifts right now, I circulate my gifts. Circulate my gifts right now, I circulate my gifts. I circulate my gifts right now, I circulate my gifts. Circulate my gifts right now, I circulate my gifts. And it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. Circulate. 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 Circulate.
Love vibration. What I know to be true is that giving and receiving is the vitality of who and what we are. Opening ourselves to that circulation, letting it fill us, and in return we give back. And this fountain of youth and prosperity and abundance is each one of us divine nature. It is who and what we are. For this I am eternally grateful, and I flow and I move with that vitality. I share it, and I know here and online that each one of us is part of this magnificent, evolving, expansive love. Love points the way, and the law produces it. It is a beautiful feeling, and it is each one of us. And I release that knowing and that expansion, knowing at all times it is my divine birthright. Each one of us is that love. And together we say, so it is. Circulation is across the nation. It's a love vibration. Circulate my love right now, I circulate my love. Circulate my love right now, I circulate my love. I circulate my love. Circulate my love. And it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. Oh, 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 oh.
Good morning. It's Sunday, June 18th, and here are your Global Truth Center announcements. Coming up on the calendar on Friday, June 30th, we have our next soul immersion at 7 p.m. right here in Westlake Village. The following day, Saturday, July 1st, we have our first summer divine dining event. It's a barbecue and pool party at the home of Dr. James and Kevin Bailey. You can sign up now right on our website. Just go to the calendar page. Bring your bathing suit, your suntan lotion, and your appetite for summer barbecue fare.
We'll see you on July 1st. Looking way out on the calendar, we're reminding you to save the date of Sunday, November 5th at 4 p.m. for the event of the year. It's our anniversary gala celebrating 60 years here in Westlake and 20 years of Global Truth Center. Look for more information in the early fall. You can always find out what's going on by visiting our calendar on the website. To find it easily, just use your cell phone on the QR codes you see throughout the sanctuary. Have a fantastic week and happy Father's Day, everyone.
Thank you, Thor. Can I get another round of applause for our amazing father speakers today? Thank you. Thor up in the booth. All right, our CODs today, stand up. Consciousness on demand. So if anything came up for you today, or you'd like to have one of these amazing practitioners do a treatment for you, we have Pauline Pancake and Mark Stewart. Pauline, where will you be? Pauline will be up here in the meditation room, and Mark Stewart will, and his brand new knee will be downstairs in Dr. James's office. I just want to thank everybody for sharing your Father's Day with us and bring up the singers. I just want to take a deep breath, recognizing the love that resides in this sanctuary, the love that resides in this community, the love of GTC that is in Guatemala right now, sharing that love with children and helping to make their lives a better place. Knowing that my life is a better place because of this energy, because of this love. In such gratitude for the people who are in Seattle and Uganda and Guatemala and Virginia and New York and Texas. I'm probably missing tons of them, of all the people that tune in online each and every Sunday and bring their consciousness and their love to this sacred community. And I am so grateful, just deeply, deeply grateful as I release this word as law, knowing that it is done and perfect and complete. As we say together, and so it is. And now, let's end this party with celebrate. Come on, dads, come on up. All
right. It's a celebration. Hey, woo-hoo. Come on up. Hey, celebrate good times. Come on. It's a celebration, yeah. Up and celebrate. Come on and celebrate. I know you got somebody to celebrate here. There's a party going on right here. It's a celebration to last throughout the year. So take your good times and your laughter too. We gonna celebrate and party with you. Come on now. Are you coming up or not? Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Yeah. Celebration. We gonna celebrate and have a good time. Listen, it's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone, come on. Woo! Woo-hoo! It's a celebration. Yeah, come on down here. Celebrate, celebrate, yeah. Celebrate good times. Come on. We even have a little choreography. I like it. Hey, celebrate, yeah, yeah. Come on. It's a celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Happy Father's Day. Celebrate good times. Come on. Celebrate, celebrate, yeah. Celebrate good times. Come on. It's a celebration. Celebrate. All right, have a great Sunday, you guys.
Fantastic.
You guys are awesome. Thank you. I cannot wait to read the next thing that you write. That's going to be like so epic. I'm going to be like, I know this guy. I hear this guy. I know where the seed is. You're fantastic. Mm-hmm.